of Watts. We are the shift, shaking it up. I'm your host, Chaplain James McNeil, and I have some wonderful people who I'll introduce in a bit. But I want to let you know that today's topic is quite a powerful one, an exciting one. Now, it may be simple for those of you that are 18 and under, because you know about this. But for those of us who are over 18, it's a little bit different. The subject is simply social media, its influence and its power. And I brought some people who know a little bit about social media with me today. Our first guest is P.J. Holmes. We have DEVION Davis. And then we have Mr. Moses PERCY. And we're excited about this because I don't know if you've noticed, but social media was pretty big in 2020. In fact, this week during the inauguration, we came across one social media gift, and we'll talk about that just a little bit later. But first, want to just invite anybody that is over the age of 18 to join us. Even if you're 17, 18, you can join us as well, because I'm sure you'll have a lot to talk about when it comes to social media. We have some pre-planned questions, but still we want your input and your thoughts. So if you are on YouTube or watching through YouTube, we definitely want you to put your comments in on the chat so that we can reflect on them and we can discuss them. And so we're going to first talk about simply, what is social media? What is social media? I will start off with DEVION, and we'll just work our way around. What is social media?
So social media is a platform where you can put picture, videos, anything that you want of your choice, and it's basically just to entertain you, but it can be very informative at points. But I love social media. Like, it's my life, but it's not my life. It's
your life, but it's not your life?
I use it every day. It's like a tool.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cool deal. Peter, what do you think? What do you think social media is?
I mean, honestly, I think it's a cool way to express yourself, see what your friends are up to, what they're into, and actually just show what kind of vibe you have to other people. It can also be used to promote yourself. Like for me, I'm a digital artist, so I like to promote my artwork.
Wait. You're a digital artist?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just want to make sure that everybody knows, if you're looking for a digital artist, we have one right here in the audience, right here on this panel. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's it. I think it's just a good way to express yourself.
Okay. Good deal. All right.
Well, social media is a tool to destroy your mind.
Destroy your mind? What?
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I really wanted you to leave it there, honestly.
Well, I mean, too much of it may very well do so, but it's basically it's designed to be a place where people from all over the world can meet, share their ideas, share their thoughts, share technologies, research, a place that everyone can meet from all over the world, whether you're in Russia, in the United States, you're in England, and just socialize. And that's why they call it social media. No matter what aspect of social life you'd like to do there, it lends the opportunity to do that.
Neat. And so what it sounds like is that it's an opportunity that everybody can participate in. Now think about that for a second. So I have a 6-year-old at home. My little 6-year-old can participate in social media as much as I can participate in social media. That's kind of crazy. And it's scary. When he's talking about it's destroying your mind, I could see how getting involved with a lot of social media, getting involved in a lot of platforms can cause some problems. What are some platforms you think that are pretty popular, pretty prevalent, that maybe that you use or that you know that people use?
So you have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have TikTok, you have Snapchat, you have Facebook. You have like a lot of them. but mostly the ones that I just use is Instagram and Twitter
Okay.
and TikTok.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else use social media? Because I think you named all the main ones. I think you named all the main ones.
Yeah, I like them all, but those are the ones I use like every day.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I just mainly use Facebook and Instagram,
Okay.
pretty much.
Facebook, Instagram.
I mean, I think LinkedIn would be considered a social media platform. It's more for social networking for employment opportunities, but that's a one as well.
Good point.
Yeah, I'm not a Facebooker, even though I believe I have an account on there. I haven't used it in quite some time, but I do like TikTok. I came across it maybe a year and a half ago.
Wait, you're a TikToker?
I'm not a TikToker.
Okay.
You will not find me with an account, but I enjoy the little videos and the skits and stuff like that. It's entertaining.
I've definitely seen some interesting TikToks for sure.
I'll give it that. It's entertaining.
Yeah, very informative.
And especially during that quarantine.
Yeah.
I didn't watch TikTok, but I have Twitter, and so on my tweet feeds, my Twitter feeds, I get to see people would tweet something from TikTok, and then of course it would link up to it, and oh man, the creativity.
Yes.
The creativity, it's amazing. It's also kind of scary in a sense, because up until recently there was really no kind of filter to it, right? You could kind of put whatever you wanted and say whatever you wanted whenever you felt like it. And of course, within the past month, we've seen the dangers and the challenges of social media because it's unchecked. And now I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Those are the main ones I use. But another social media that people use quite a bit, don't even think about it, is YouTube. Yep. I mean, YouTube, even this program is on YouTube, is a form of social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
And isn't that funny that in this day and age of, mass information, what took churches to really embrace social media or to get involved with social media was the pandemic, right? Now, how many of us watch our church services online during the week?
For Wednesday night prayer meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really just the Saturday, the Sabbath one.
Okay. But, wouldn't you say that's pretty cool to be able to, even if you missed a live broadcast, to go back and watch it? Now, I will admit that I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to YouTube, in that I watch a lot of YouTube channels. I'm catching different sermons throughout the week, just about every single day.
I was going to say it can get addicting because it's like once you find a video you like, it's going to request it on the right-hand side, more videos that you like. So it's like a video after a video after a video. So I think since the pandemic, more churches are going to be using YouTube and using the platform because it's just so easy to record and put your sermon on there or put your, prayer on there or whatever you need to do. And then more people will watch it and become more informed about what's going on in your church. But more people are probably comfortable just watching it on social media than, if they're coming in church. So
It's also just the accessibility of it, too, how you can literally just pull it out your pocket, like your phone, and just watch it.
And now we have 5G, right? So it's even faster.
Right.
And everything is on there. I mean, best foods, best restaurant. There's reviews from people talking about food. There's sports. It can keep you informed of a lot of different stuff, and then the entertainment value and like you said, the ease of access. It's ridiculous, and I found myself, maybe because of the pandemic, I was getting addicted. What I mean by addicted is I would go out.
Yeah. Unpack addicted. Do we have to have you YouTube's Anonymous
Yeah,
or something like that?
Well, it was TikTok, so I would go out into my garage, right? Because I'm not going to. I love Planet Fitness, but I haven't been there in a year because what's going on. So I would go out in my garage and work out, and do my 3 sets of 10 and whatever else. And in my 3 sets of 10, that first set, I'm grabbing my phone. Oh, watch this video real quick. And I put it down, do my second set of 10, and let me watch this video real quick. So after a while, I started thinking to myself, man, I should just work out without watching the videos. But it was a struggle. Yeah.
Man, oh man. Yeah, that was, they say the struggle was real, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you were trying to work out, but at the same time, you were also indulging. It's almost like double dipping in a sense, right? getting 2 for 1. Oh man, that's amazing. And I also want to point out that you are a father, husband, father, right? You work for a living, and you're finding yourself as a responsible adult being engaged in this kind of media to the point where it's irresistible.
Yeah. Well, they put the videos on there, like you stated, that are entertaining for you. You know,
exactly.
it's like they know you. You know, like, oh yeah, this will get his attention. That's why, and they're funny. And this is like a good laugh, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it can get you.
I was going to say also, because the first thing you do when you make social media, they always ask, well, what do you like?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're making your account or whatever, you're going to click whatever you like. So, of course, they're going to put videos and people that you like, and they're going to put it across your feed so you can be more entertained and be more used to, okay, I got to see this person, or I have to look at this person and see what's going on in their life, or, whatever. So,
Yeah, I agree with you. That's yeah.
yeah, so they have to pick your brain a little bit to see how you are as a person, and then go ahead and say, okay, let me put this on the feed. And then you're going to be so, addicted to pick up your phone and say, okay, they're on there now. I got to see them. Because that's how I am. I'm like, okay, I got to see what's going on. Like, I have my notifications on. Like, I got to see. So they know what they're doing. It's just, it's entertaining.
And then your account adapts to you, and then you see it and you're recommended. And now you got to keep on watching videos.
Interesting.
That's what you mean.
You said something I thought that was interesting. You said that your account adapts to you. And can you kind of unpack that a little bit, about what that means?
Well, on your account, it will actually, like she said, different videos will pop up in your notifications. And basically that's just how social media works now. Like you'll scroll through Instagram and you will actually see something that you're into, because now your account is adapting to you. So yeah, they know what they're doing.
Right.
Wow. So that's to me, that's amazing once again, because something as simple as, once again, we're talking about using creativity, connectivity, and then just, a global sense of ideas and concepts throughout. And now it's adapting and tailor-making my preferences.
Right, it's like networking.
It's like networking. And, so you go from like social networking to almost something a little bit more evolved, a little bit more developed, a little bit more specific and detailed.
It dates for you. What's that? Social media? We didn't mention it. It's one that you swipe left. That's why they made it famous. What was it called again? Y'all know which one it is. Not like you don't know.
I was just about to say.
That's it.
Oh.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, are you talking about Tinder?
Oh.
So like you said, it adapts, right, to
Right.
you. So if you got a Tinder account and you're
Swipe left, swipe right.
swipe left is when you're not interested,
It's
right?
when you're not interested. Swipe right.
Yeah, so if you swiping enough left, it knows what you're not interested in. You swipe right, then it'll start, whatever algorithm is behind the scenes, realizing, okay, this type of person is what he or she likes. So
Right.
start sending them more of this person.
Yeah.
Maybe you can contact this person. Y'all can share I'm guessing it's a like button on there,
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
think
like
so.
that. Yeah.
It's like building your profile.
There you go. So it's dates for you.
Yeah.
Man. First of all, I'm trying to figure out how you knew that Tinder.
Honestly, I've never. I don't trust people enough to.
Oh yeah, well, so you're a little paranoid. Sounds like, huh?
Right. You never know what people's real intentions are. So.
But that's technically, if you meet a young lady on the street, sidewalk, in the gym, you don't know what her intentions is either. It's just roughly the same thing, except for now, it's on your phone or your laptop.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this day and age, somebody will give you their social media before they give you their phone number. So it's very rare that it's like, here's my number. It's like, you can follow me on Instagram so you can see my pictures first.
Wow.
So, yeah, they'll give you your social media before they get the phone number. You're lucky if you get the phone number at first.
So the flow phone number to a whole nother level now,
Yeah,
huh?
it's a whole nother level.
Oh, man. So let me ask you this then. So do you think, since we've talked about a relationship app like Tinder, do you think it's harder in this day and age to get to know somebody on a personal level using social media, or you think it's fairly easy?
It's kind of like in the middle, because as we all know about the show Catfish, people personalize themselves all the time, and you never know a person until you actually meet them. And social media I think it gives you a boost of confidence because you have the filters, you have the emojis. So a person will never truly know how you look until you see them in person.
That's true. Because right now on Facebook, I'm still swole like I was when I left college. I'm ripped up and everything else. And that's the picture that's going to stay there. That's not changing. 50 years from now, I'm still going to be there.
See, we have dishonest people here, see?
And so you can create a whole facade.
Yeah. Like, is Moses even your real name? Or, I'm just trying to see what's happening here.
You know, that's once again, that's interesting for the mere fact that, you know, we, as we're still battling this pandemic, one of the things is that people were just basically stuck indoors, right? And so they're trying to reach out via social media through these different platforms. And some of the things I had read was that they found it easier to talk to somebody, but also too easy, as you mentioned, catfish them as well. And so you can kind of make up a profile or make up certain things about you that aren't necessarily true,
right, but
could be.
Yeah, you could, like, I can have all this long hair, but then it's like, when people see me inside, they're like, hey, where's your hair?
Right.
So.
Oh my gosh. And so it does, of course, deals with truth or the observance of truth. So kind of going back a little bit, if you guys would just bear with me, if we kind of rewind a little bit, particularly at the beginning of the year, there was some challenges. For those of us that are in America, the challenge was the election, right? Social media was huge and big. I don't know about you, but I got my phone blown up just on text messages of people reminding me and asking me to vote. Twitter, people were tweeting me about voting. It was just everywhere, and this is toward the end of last year. And so social media was just blowing up with all types of information, all kinds of ways to encourage people to go out there, participate, vote, let your voice be heard type of thing. And then, of course, we had that, the longest election known to mankind.
Yes, we did.
That was the longest.
That was the longest one.
Yeah.
And it was even up until the end of November, early December, where we couldn't get the election results.
Right.
But all through that, there were tweets and there were feeds and there were different information that was being put out there that the election was rigged.
Exactly.
Y'all remember that?
Yep.
I know it just feels like it just happened.
Right. It's fake news,
And one of the things that came up was that there was an app called Parler. Parlay if you're French.
Okay.
But Parler was this medium that was being used, this app that was being used for people who were political but on more of the conservative, almost alt-right. And this is where they would go, and instead of using the main Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, they went there to do a lot of their conversations. They went there to do a lot of their political planning and sometimes venting because it felt like it was a safe space. And then we saw all of this come to a head on January 6th, right? January 6th, when President 45 stood up and had all of these followers that were either on Parler and Twitter, all these things come up and basically say that this election was stolen,
Right.
and now we got to do something about it. And of course, we had those wonderful Capitol riots.
Yes, we did.
Now, very embarrassing because once again, you're all these social media, because even news now has social media accounts.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all are aware of that. So like CNN, Fox, ABC, all of them, they have their own social media accounts. And so they're taking small clips, hooking it up, and then basically allowing people to have access to seeing what was going on. So you saw like live stills and all of that. And we witnessed some of these people that were on Parler. And so by the end of all of that, it was said that Twitter, and you can look this up, Twitter basically froze the president's account, the former president's account, and many other people's accounts because it was inciting violence.
Yes.
And so now they became to use this as a way to kind of slow down the exchange of information. And so Parler was connected to one of the major ones, which was shut down.
Oh, wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so the profile of all these anonymous people that have no faces we're now starting to become more visualized, because we saw a guy look like a Viking, right?
Yeah.
We saw different people dressed of all different kind of ways. They ransacked, the halls of Congress. They ransacked offices, and now this harmless little exchange of being anonymous not only caused problems, but now it caused those who run these major social media networks to slow down. And so it had me thinking about the fact that how can truth be manipulated?
Well, I think you said it.
Yeah, how can truth be manipulated? And we saw that quick example of one person propagating inaccuracies going over and over and over. And so, and this is just me thinking out loud, and I'm inviting you to jump in. How often do I avoid truth to share my own story, to share my own agenda?
That's actually interesting. I didn't know about that whole Parler. You said it was another social media app.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically piggybacking off of what you said, it is very scary how much, just like again, I didn't know about Parler, how any social media app can influence a whole group of people in their behavior and in their decision making. But what are you asking again? What's your?
It's in terms of just truth, right? Because we live in an age where fake news,
Right.
a post-truth age, right?
Right.
So I can say DEVION's hair is blue. Now you and I can see her hair is not blue, but because I say it enough and I put it on a social media, I'll find somebody that'll agree with me that her hair is blue.
Right. But to piggyback off PJ, the thing about it is when the person told them to go down there, social media is really big on like your mental. So if he's telling you something and you're just gonna believe it and just go, you're very small-minded. And it's like you don't have a mind. Like you're just gonna just go with the flow and just go and just go wherever somebody's telling you to go, and it's just like you don't have a strong mind. Like that should never have happened. Like how can somebody influence you that much to go down there and have your way with the Capitol? Like I don't get it. Like
Well,
It sounds crazy, right?
It sounds crazy. Like it's nothing that I thought I would see. So.
But social media is a very powerful tool, because I think we all mentioned something key that you really have to pay attention to social media. And the key, what we all mentioned, was that it knows you. It studies you. It's like a since I work in cybersecurity, I know how much what's the term big data. It knows if you have high blood pressure. It knows how often you have to go and get your medicine. All this data is on. It knows if you like this person, if you had a falling out, because people put their lives on Facebook and everywhere.
Right.
And like you stated, your account adapts to you. So if it knows you like this video like I like, it's going to recommend all this different stuff. So now it's created your own bubble, a world. And all you do is get news on whatever they had on Parler. And if that's all you, like the Bible says, by beholding we are changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, what we focus our mind, it's imperceptible to us. Because if we feel ourselves changing, especially in the wrong way, we're going to go back. But it's imperceptible. So we're watching it, we're looking at it, and all of a sudden, we start acting a certain way and doing things a certain way, which is why I said I'm in the middle of lifting weights, and I'm so it's having an impact, and we don't even know it.
And it's funny you should say that, because just to go off on a little tangent, people that say I don't want to put in my phone number here because I know they're tracking me and stuff like that. Well, you have a phone, so you're already being tracked. You're already, you're already on the grid. You know what I'm saying? So, you're already, you know what I'm trying to say. So as long as you have a phone.
Exactly, with the Face ID and everything,
right.
Like people don't like to put the Face ID on their phone, but I'm like, they're already knowing what you're doing. Like they are looking at you right now.
Yeah, I don't like that
You don't like it?
fingerprint scanner and the facial scan. And all right now, I see all these things in the back. All of it's off. all of it's off. I'm not doing any of that.
See, no, I have an iPhone, so it's just like the iPhones are gonna always evolve. So I don't even have the finger touch anymore. It's like the face.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take it off, but it's just so easy just to put your face on the screen and open.
See, I don't want my stuff in anybody's database. I'm going to the airport and they scan and
you're
looking
one
for
of
me.
them.
Yeah, I am.
They're like,
I am.
"Oh,
I don't want to do that. And I'm thinking to myself as we're talking, right? How it's all about manipulation of the mind, right? And that's why I'm so paranoid, right? The first attempts to study on a mass scale or manipulate on a mass scale is in TV commercials.
That's right.
Radio. When you, especially that McDonald's, the
Exactly.
music.
We already just know it's
Yeah,
McDonald's.
and then they show you the burger, and we ain't supposed to eat pork, right? They show you the burger, the ketchup dripping, the mustard dripping off of it with the pickles, all that looks.
And the onions.
Oh yeah.
You got to stop. Right
And your mind, the commercial is meant not to tell you that it's out there. Hey, whenever you feel like it, no, it is. Oh, look how good this looks.
Exactly.
You know this. You know this. Go ahead and get one. So, and it evolved into something huge and monstrous, as I call it, which is social media.
Right. But look
They
at
have it down pat.
Exactly. But look at the fast food restaurants that don't even have a commercial. Like, I've never seen a Chick-fil-A commercial. I've never seen a Starbucks commercial. But we just know it's out there. We drive past them all the time.
Chick-fil-A put crack in their food, though.
No,
the
they
lines
do
are unnecessarily long.
No, they do not.
They put
Chick-fil-A is
something in
good.
there.
It's really good.
That's
See, but
what-
it's
that's
They
what
put
he's
narcotics in
saying.
their food. I'm telling you. They put narcotics in there.
Real simple, right?
Yeah, real
Oh, indeed. And, as we're talking about influence, and I've just shared with you about the tweets and the Facebook. Now I want to kind of think about, we just recently had an inauguration. First of all, how many of you watched the inauguration?
I caught bits and clips of it.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bits and clips. There was an Amanda Gorman who did a phenomenal job with a poem during the inauguration. If you ever get a chance, check that out. She was fabulous. But in that inauguration, there was my man Bernie Sanders.
Oh, gosh.
Uncle Bernie.
Uncle Bernie.
Uncle Bernie was sitting there with the craziest mittens you've ever seen in a metal chair. And in that moment, he's sitting there because it's freezing cold. Somebody had the mindset to take a picture of that and paste his picture everywhere. You guys remember Where Was Waldo?
Yeah, it's like he's everywhere. Everywhere you can look, he's right there.
They did the same thing with Uncle Bernie. And so if you were to Google Bernie memes, you'll find a picture of Uncle Bernie with his hands crossed across his chest, with those mittens, sitting down in a metal chair everywhere.
Exactly.
Because of YouTube restrictions, we weren't able to show the meme, but we can tell you to go look up the meme.
Yes, look it up.
But it shows me, and the thing went viral within a day or so. I wasn't even paying attention to a lot of this stuff, and I was able to pick out it as one of the top things that was hot trends on Twitter.
Trending.
And so one of the things that I'm learning and finding out is, as we're talking about truth, and there's also trends. And so sometimes what feels true, what feels like a trend may not necessarily be true, or we want it to be true.
Right.
So just because I want your hair to be blue, DEVION, and I get a lot of people to sit there and trend on it, eventually it's going to be true
It's going to be true.
in my mind,
In
even though
your
it's
mind.
not true.
Even though it's not true. Because your mind wants you to think what your mind wants you to think. So if you want
And
to
then
be blue,
you-
let's go.
And then you'll have a group of people that think it's red, and then a group of people that think it's blue.
And they're gonna vote on Instagram.
And they're going to vote on Instagram.
They're gonna-
You're gonna take those votes and say.
They're going to
yeah,
storm
it's
somebody's
50-50.
house.
Yeah. But it's powerful because I'm thinking to myself, you guys are so right, because I'm thinking of the Capitol, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of the Capitol, and I'm thinking of how, you know, what you stated, parlor. I didn't have a full understanding, so I just looked it up on my phone to the parlor, and all those people were, I'm going to use the term manipulated into going out there and feeling that their vote was stolen after judge after judge. And,
After judge.
What the voting commissioner said that that's not the case. And what they felt strongly about, so strongly about, caused them to violate a lot of their beliefs and principles. Like, for instance, a lot of those people out there were back the blue, back the blue. And I'm looking at a video of them beating a police officer with their American flag. I'm thinking to myself, what happened to backing the blue?
Right.
Well, how do you get from back the blue so hard and to a point where you're raiding the Capitol, harming the people that you just stood so firmly on? That's the power of social media, the way it can do to your mind if you're not careful. I was amazed.
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed. I want to take a look at Scripture, and you know, I love Proverbs because it has a lot of wise sayings between that and Ecclesiastes. But this is what Proverbs says, and I'm reading from a New Living Translation. It says, Proverbs 13:16 says, "Wise people think before they act. Fools don't, and even brag about their foolishness." Now, Solomon didn't live in our time with social media, but I think he described some challenges with social media, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Is that some people think, or some people act before they think.
Right.
And the fact that we can make aggressive decisions, or we can make a decision, whether it's choosing a product, choosing a friend, or getting into a particular relationship, sometimes even choosing a church based on the recommendations of other people, and not learning from ourselves is dangerous. And then making a rash decision because, you know, as much as we look at what happened in the Capitol, which has only been a couple of weeks now, these were some intelligent people. These were people that worked in government in some places. They were tax-paying, law-abiding citizens for the most part. They got on planes and flew to the Capitol.
Yep.
And then after it was all said and done, they got them back on those same said planes and flew back. And now they have warrants out for their arrest, and they're picking them up, and that's a different conversation.
They put their own self in that predicament.
They put themselves in their own predicament because they felt so strongly about those emotions.
And they were
Manipulated. But I would also say that, you know, those of us who engage in social media, we're being manipulated,
at some point, yeah.
you know, in some ways. I can share with you a quick testimony in that, you know, in 2019, I was looking to buy a vehicle. And I went through a bunch of websites, a bunch of car sites. And what I started noticing is that the sites that I went to, whether it was Carvana, whether it was Ride Time or
Drive Time.
Drive Time, or some of those, if I went on Facebook, I would start seeing these same advertisements on my Facebook feed. I'm like, how'd that happen?
Because they just know that you were looking for a car.
They knew I was looking for a car.
Advertisements about the car sites that you were looking at, so of course they're going to say, okay, I'm going to put this up.
And the things were linked. And then, you know, and if you look at the bottom of those websites, they'll put on there, "Do not sell my information." But you have to intentionally click on that so that they won't, quote unquote, sell it.
Right.
And so I was going through all those. Eventually I decided I was going to go with Carvana because it seemed more hassle-free. And of course, once I did that, I was still getting more advertisements from different things about warranties and getting calls about warranties. And so the whole idea is that in the world that we live in, there's constant manipulation. People are constantly using your information to try to get you to buy, trying to get you to take a look at their product, trying to get you to look at them just a little bit.
Right. Is that social media calling you?
Apparently, that was social media calling him.
Let me make sure my social media is turned down.
For those of you that don't know what just happened while I was talking, MC Hammer came up on Moses' phone.
That was my new ringtone. I was testing it out.
You're testing it out. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been influenced? Have you ever been influenced to do something because of social media?
Yes. So I'm a hair person.
Okay.
So I was so scared to try color. So I had to watch a lot of YouTube videos to see how, it would look on me because I'm black.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, so if it looks good on her, will it look good on me? So I had to just trick my mind and say, okay, this is me. I'm going to do it. And I did it. So now it's just thanks to YouTube, thanks to Instagram, giving me some inspiration, some inspo. Hashtag inspo, Instagram.
Hashtag inspo.
So, yeah, I just had to make sure I watched the video on it and everything to make sure I was, prepared for what I was going to get myself into. It's like taking a risk.
Mm. Would you say the risk was worth it?
Yes, easy my hair. Yes, it was worth it.
I had to ask.
Some of it is worth it. Some of it is just trash. Especially on TikTok, they love to show you Amazon finds because Amazon is the best right now.
Mm.
And it's one page will give you, no, don't buy it, but the other page will give you yes, buy it. And it's just you have to have that type of stuff for people so they just won't go out and waste their money. And it's good to have it so you can already know what you're getting into before you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So
is
point for social media.
Yeah, right. So what? So it's Amazon. You said Amazon finds, right?
Yes, Amazon finds.
And Amazon, of course, we know is huge because between the echoes, between their different things. I
And
mean,
Alexa.
and Alexa. Oh man, there's a car, it's a Buick, and I think if you've ever seen that commercial where he's sitting there talking about, oh, this is an Alexa. It's not even. He couldn't remember the name of the car. He just knew it was an Alexa.
Right. See?
Oh man, I have one of those dreaded things at home, and sometimes it feels like Alexa is just not only listening to my conversations, but she's recording it and sending it out.
I can tell you for instance, I'm in cybersecurity, Alexa is doing that.
Really?
Alexa and certain models of Samsung phones yes, it is.
Wow.
So if you're not using it, my recommendation is unplug it until you're ready to use it.
Wow, okay. What about Siri?
Same thing on our phones.
I love her. Siri, can you play this? And she just goes ahead and plays it. I don't even have to touch a button.
I know.
So if that is the fact, then she kicks in when you say Siri. So when does she know that you say Siri?
Because you have to press a button on your phone, just like this. Siri, can you play something?
Oh, you have to press the button
You have to
first.
press the button.
Yes. Before, I don't have an iPhone. I'm an Android guy. Before, you didn't have to do that. You just said Siri because it was always listening. Now,
Right, you have to say, "Hey Siri."
Yeah, now you have to control it. You
Press
got to
the
control
button.
her or
Yep.
him to say something that you want to say.
Alexa, you don't have to do that.
Yeah. No.
There's no button to press.
Alexa, I'm listening.
Yep.
Alexa's always around.
Does that scare you?
It does. I've got a 6-year-old at home, and I've got 3 kids, and my youngest one, Jared, he gets enamored with Alexa. So there are times of the day where he'll just start asking questions. Alexa, tell a joke, and
I'm surprised he's not saying, Alexa, can you play Coco Melon?
yeah.
These kids love Coco Melon, man.
Oh, what's the other one? Baby Shark.
Baby Shark. Alexa, can you play Baby Shark theme song?
You better be careful. You get the teenage years, like my daughters. Alexa, can you buy me an iPhone?
What?
Like,
What?
No, you better not.
What?
It better not come to this house. You have everything tied to it, your finance, but I don't do that. But
And that's why I put password protections on some of those things. You got to ask me before you go ahead and buy stuff. We're not we're not buying a $500 computer just cause.
Yeah, just because it's there.
No, it's no. Once again, in the age of truth, it just there's so many things that can kind of shade you, and so many things that kind of throw you off.
Well, can I answer the question that she answered that you asked?
Sure, go ahead.
So one of the things that social media that got me was, I know a lot of it influenced you to buy things, but it started influencing me to think a certain way about a certain group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like you said something just, it was just total truth how it adapts, your account adapts to you. So I'm watching Twitter before the elections. I'm watching it back where, oh my gosh, George Floyd.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Watching it way on back there, right? And, and I'm going through all this different stuff, and I'm seeing every day in between sets, and I'm thinking to myself, we're seeing it from multiple people's phones. It's not like it's like, I had to say fake news, how, only one news station. We're seeing it from people that are actually on the ground. We're seeing different things from different people. And then you got a group of people that's saying, this rubbish. And I'm thinking to myself, they're not good people. They're evil, they're this and that. But until I started studying social media, realizing these people, because of their accounts, don't even see the same information, don't even see the information that you're seeing. Because of their habits and over the years that they click on, their recommendations, they see totally different news and information that you see. Not that even, I'm going to even go for, not that even that news may be on fake, but it is just different. It's talking about the tea tax in China or whatever else.
It's talking about something that's overseas.
Correct.
Rather than what's going on in the United States.
Totally different. Now, some of it is fake, but some of it is totally different. So when you're digesting all this information, you're looking at these people and they're thinking the way they're thinking, you start to feel a certain way. You say, okay, I'm going to have to start watching these type of, but a lot of times they're not even seeing that information that you're seeing. And then it makes a division and a divide, one against the other, like Satan wants. And then things starts to erupt like that, like it did, like it has. And that's now our new president is calling for, hey, let's not demonize each other. Let's come together. Let's unify it. But it's still out there. It's still out there. So how do we what do we do? Because social media is a powerful tool. That's free.
It's free.
It's free.
That's
No
free.
money.
Yeah.
No money. You don't have to put a dime in it. You just download it and you make an account and then boom. You're a social media addict like me.
Yeah. As you're talking about that, I'm just thinking about the fact that, even from a spiritual aspect, sometimes we look at the things that we want to look at. We see the things that we want to see. So I can find all the flaws in PJ and DEVION, but I could never see my own flaws unless I'm open and willing to let somebody look at me and say, you're struggling with this, right? I remember Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, one of the things he talks about is that before you try to get the speck out of your brother's eye, get the beam out of your own eye, right? And you're thinking, well, if I have a log in my eye, why couldn't I see that? But the idea is, if I'm only looking at the things that suit me, and I'm building a profile, I can build a profile on cards, basically, or a house of cards that's perfect for my way of living and thinking. But it's not necessarily true, and it's not helpful for my spiritual growth or for my spiritual development. It's not making me a better person. It's not helping me see Christ in others, and it's definitely not helping me see Christ. Because if the truth be told, I can use social media to manipulate the kind of Jesus I want. He's a heavenly ATM. He only wants good for me, not anything bad. He only likes the people that I like. You get what I'm saying? And we can kind of go on and on and on. And I only listen to the sermons that talk about prosperity or making me feel good, so I never have to confront my challenges of sin or confront my challenges of inadequacy. I never have to grow. And I guess I'm concerned about, your generation, DEVION and PJ, because you guys have kind of grown up in this thing, right?
Yeah, social media wasn't as big when I was a child because I just used to get on the computer and paint.
I remember that.
Yeah, and you play like pinball, but now it's like you get on the computer, you got to put, restrictions on it for your children because you type in anything, it's like, okay, well. My child is on here, you have to block certain things, but it has really grown, like especially the kids that are born like in 2000s. That's the ones I'm worried about. Us, I'm not really too, I'm not worried about us. It's just the kids that's born in 2000s, they were exposed more than us. So
can I ask
Yeah.
Go ahead, PJ, you go first.
Well, I was just about to say, I remember I didn't even get any type of social media until high school. I'd say maybe sophomore year. I had my little slide phone, and then when I got my first actual touchscreen phone, I felt like.
yeah, I had to sneak and get a Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, I had to change my name. I was 20 years old, but I was really, like like 14, I think. So it was
Wow.
Just like,
And now you're walking around looking at kids with a whole
with a whole phone and account. It's like, wait, how old are you?
Yeah, that's crazy right there.
Mm-hmm. Pretty scary, pretty amazing, because the same way that they can be things that manipulate kids, the same things, to do wrong, there's also things that can help them to do better. You can have things like, Canva is more of an artsy design type of app that you can send messages of positivity and things. There are different things, even Bible apps. There's some Bible apps that I use that sometimes I'll just send out a message to people for encouragement. So there's some good things on there. And of course, even some good YouTube channels or some good Twitter feeds that I occasionally look at. I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. Ways on how to better connect with your parents and better ways to understand the Bible. So there are some good aspects of it.
So I want to mention something, just to give you a personal experience and maybe end it with a question. So in the corporate world, I was warned, as they said, look, what you have to do as your job duties is going to be difficult, right? But that's not the hardest part of your job. The hardest part of your job is going to be people, dealing with people, stuff like that. And I never understood it, right? As the years went by, I started to understand. In order to do the normal duties, someone has to help you. You have to work and partner and teamwork with somebody. And it's difficult because you're dealing with different personalities, different culture, it could be very difficult. So one of the advices I got was this. He said, look, when you're dealing with people and you're trying to do something, make them, and you need to do X, make them think that X is their idea. When you sit down and think about the gravity of that, right? I have to make you think that what I want to do is your idea. How do I do that? I have to figure out a way to communicate, to inject into your mind information that will ultimately bring about your action, turn your actions to do what I want you to do. Literally, I was told that. I am not lying to you.
You were told to manipulate.
Right, basically.
So that is what I'm getting at when it comes to social media. And I had the same thing in college. I had a public speaking class, and we had 3 different speeches we had to do: informative, informative, research, and persuasive.
Persuasive, yeah.
That persuasive one is the same thing. I gotta persuade you on something.
Yeah, to make me believe what you're talking about.
Correct. So social media, right? It has an aspect of it where you're looking at, like I did. I'm looking at a video. I'm looking at something, and it's funny and it's whatever else, and it's free, or is it?
It is free.
Somebody's paying for it, and something's a product. Yeah. So and that video or whatever is you think it's not doing anything, but the whole point of it, because I'm telling you, electricity, the designers, somebody had to pay somebody to set that stuff up.
Right.
They have to recoup their money. So the whole point is, it's trying to make you do something without you knowing that you're doing it, because they're telling you to do it. Just like me, I have at work, making them think it is their idea. So when I look at social media, I look at all these Facebooks, I look at everything, and yes, some of it, like Facebook, is meant to glean information from you, so I can build a profile, so I can know how to target your mind and your habits and your thing. So it is, I'll say it's a brilliant architecture, the social media, but even myself, I think about it, I was like, whoa, this is
scary.
Yeah.
Like, are any of my ideas real? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
that
exactly, huh?
I like that you brought it up, because on Instagram they just started doing this thing called stories, but they took it from Snapchat. Like all these social medias, they take a little bit from each one and they just kind of put it in their own, like Instagram. Like they never had, it's called Reels, but it's like TikTok. So you're just like, it's basically, it's not like you're on TikTok, but they're trying to plagiarize it a little bit.
Gotcha.
But I like the story part, because even though I put something I think is funny, it's like people react to it and it's like, okay, kind of like gas me up.
So you're telling me your story on there?
I'm not telling my story. It's like I take a story from like a page and I put it up there and I'm like, this is so funny. And then like people like DM me like, oh my gosh, send this to me. This is so funny. And it kind of gas me up. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, so I'm funny. Like, okay. I get like 13 people like sending me stuff like, hey, can you send this to me? So yeah, that kind of makes me feel good. And people can react to it too. Like they can react like smiling, crying, fiery, meaning lit, and like a surprise, like a little thing. It's like good job and hand clap and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so that's what the fiery means. You talking about the fiery emoji?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's lit.
That's
Thought
See,
that was burning down.
and I'm learning.
Wait, what did you thought it was though?
I thought it was like it's fire. It's like it was the bomb. It was great. But
No, but you got to say it's lit.
it's lit. See,
Talking like us now. Okay.
Catching on.
I'm catching.
He's catching on.
Catching fire.
Catching fire. Okay. All right.
Oh my gosh. You know, that was one of the things I was doing the research to prepare for this, was it finds out that those who are people who are between the ages of, I think, 18 and under, they're more likely to use social media. 18 and over, the percentages of people who use social media begins to dwindle. So let's say if you're between the ages of like 19 and 15, supposedly you use social media like 90% of the time. Now, once you get to a certain point, when you get about 20, 21, it goes down a percentage, roughly about 10%. So you go from 90 to about 80%. And then every decade that you get older, 30, 40, it goes down. So people who are typically about 50 years old and over, they probably use social media probably about 30, 40% of the time.
Well, right now they're using it in church, so they're probably
Right.
Because they're like, I gotta tune in to church. I gotta go to church.
I gotta go to church.
So they're tuning in,
That is making me wonder, though, like, our generation,
Right.
are we, when we get older, is our generation going to, is that percentage going to climb?
Well,
you
I know mine is because I'm gonna be 53, but still acting like I'm 23. I'm still-
No,
And
Debbie.
I
will,
am,
and
but
will
I'm trying to be on
everyone
social
and will
media.
everyone have that mindset? Is
Exactly.
what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for everyone else because like I just like social media because of how, like you said, it's a tool. You know, you can use it for anything. Like these small businesses is crazy. They have so many followers and so many people that are supporting them that it's like, wow, okay, I only have 1,000 followers and they got 2K and they're just making lip gloss or whatever they're making. It's just like, how are you getting all these people to follow you? Like, what are you doing? But it's a lot of promoting too. Like my page is open.
Okay.
So when you open your page, you have all these analytics and you can see who's watching your page,
Okay.
how many people have reached it, how many people have liked it, and how many people have viewed it.
But what are those analytics for?
Those analytics are for you to see who is watching your page at all times.
But why?
But why? I don't know. I mean, hey, ask the Instagram.
I can tell you in the world of
Cybersecurity.
computers,
Yeah, I'm about to say yes.
analytics
let me know.
is information for us to take whatever, if you're designing something to the next level. Like, for instance, how many people are watching, how
Right.
long they're watching,
Right.
and what they're watching. Then we go back and say, okay, we see that there's a trend here. Let's tweak this to see if we can get more. And what we're tweaking is we're giving you whatever that stimulates you
Yeah.
to you can continue on.
Yeah.
And so it is all about the more information we have is the more we can get done what we want to do, is the more we can now make you do what we want you to do. It's very
Yeah, that
fascinating
sounds like
being
fun.
computers, and the social media, I knew it was out there. I've enjoyed it. I'm gonna lie to you, I've enjoyed it like everyone else, uses a tool as anyone else. But as I sit back now and understand what I'm understanding, and I still don't understand the whole gambit of it, but I realize it is something to be careful with. And I wouldn't put everything about yourself out there.
Yeah, that's what we said about the internet, right? I mean, the internet, there's just so much information. It's vast, it's unguarded, it's censored. It's not necessarily watched.
The internet's in every country, so who's controlling it?
Right.
Who's regulating it? It's in
Right.
everywhere.
It's
So-
everywhere. But as we've looked, we were starting to realize that there's somebody watching,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah, it
there's
is.
somebody that's pulling it, because you have
Exactly.
what's it called, the dark web or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That
That's
takes
my point. There's got to be somebody somewhere.
that's taking that information and streaming it. And then even too, in terms of let's say something as simple as worship. There are people who are watching and they're using and tweaking so that they can use that to draw people to their forms of worship or to their online church, right?
Right.
Because we have to use analytics to get a better sense of how are we reaching people.
Right, and I'm glad that they have analytics because it also lets us know what do we need to change or what do we need to do better so that more people can reach us. And that's what I like about YouTube, because YouTube, it lets you know how many people are watching, how many people are waiting. Like for the show, it tells you like 3 people are waiting or 4 or 5. Then when you're actually live, that number increases, especially during divine worship. It increases when we are off, like when we're done live. Like I was about to say live, and it's not even a word. When we're done with the live, the numbers just like go up, and it's very cool to see like who's watching and where they're from and everything.
Really? Wow.
And YouTube, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's, once again, amazing, scary, awesome, because I think at the same time, too, those things, that information, we can still use that information to forward the gospel. It's young adults that are going to be able to carry the gospel in a different way than I've been able to carry it.
Right.
And you don't necessarily have to spend, X amount of years in seminary. I'm finding that there are people who are younger than me, they're able to send out messages of hope, send out messages of interest, but then at the same time, too, get people thinking about the second coming, right? All of this that I think we all would agree that this world can't keep going on like this. That there has to be something better than what we're experiencing now, and it's not just a president of a country. It's got to be something better, grander. Being able to imagine, going back to not wearing masks. I can't imagine it right now because that's our everyday.
I look at a picture now and I'm just like, I was not social distancing. Like, my mind just go to, I can't believe watching the movie. I'm like, they're not. What are they doing?
Yeah.
It's like second nature now.
I can't believe I shook their hand.
I can't
Like,
believe I shook their hand. I can't believe,
things like that. It is crazy.
crazy.
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to leave us with this scriptural summary for today. And that is Philippians 4, verse 8, from the New Living Translation. Philippians 4, verse 8. And it says this, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. And so we hope that as we've talked here today, that you will get a better sense that we need to fix our eyes and our thoughts of things that are lovely, admirable, that are true, that are pure, that even in your social media interactings, that you find things that are helpful to you, helpful that are growing your character. Because ultimately, if it's not growing your character, then it's taking down and destroying your character. And God wants us all to have grown characters that are developing each and every way for righteousness and godliness. We know that social media is a tool, as DEVION has said, as PJ has said, as Moses has said. It's a tool, but it has its pros and its cons. It's just like a knife or anything else that we use. It all depends how you use it. And so whether you're young or whether you're old, let's begin to start thinking about what are the things that we're coming across. There's many more things that we can talk about and we will discuss. Hopefully, the next time I come back around, we can talk about social media some more. But we want to start thinking about how can we use it the way that God would have us to use it in 2021, in this 21st century, to make a difference and change the lives of others. And so with that, we're going to bid you adieu. But before we finally sign off, I want to put in one plug for something that is coming up this Wednesday. This Wednesday, there is going to be a panel that is partnered with Bible-Based Fellowship. So it's Mount Calvary and Bible-Based Fellowship will be partnering. And they'll be speaking to the Hillsborough County Commissioners, tax appraiser, and county tax attorney about racism and how to build a better and strong Hillsborough County for black and brown people or people of color. This is a wonderful opportunity to once again have us work with the community, with another church, Bible-based. This will be on our on Bible-Based's, I was going to say spreadsheet, but flyer on their website. Right. But also, too, I think it's also on our flip pages. There may be a link on our website, and it was announced. But we would definitely encourage you to check that out as well. This is going to happen this Wednesday on the 27th at 7 p.m., and you're encouraged to check it out and to lend support as we work with local government officials to make a better world. And so this concludes our segment of Watts Shaking It Up. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. God bless you.